My sister's accidental voicemail changed everything I thought I knew about the two people I trusted most in the world. I'd called her phone that Tuesday afternoon, expecting to leave a quick message about our mom's birthday plans. Instead, her phone had butt-dialed me back, and for 3 minutes and 47 seconds, I listened to my sister and my husband mocking me in ways I never could have imagined. Every insecurity I'd ever confided to them, every vulnerability I'd shared, turned into cruel jokes while they laughed together at my expense. The recording revealed years of betrayal hidden behind smiles and support, and I couldn't unhear what they really thought of me. Let me take you back to when I still believed my family loved me the way I loved them. I grew up with Sarah being my best friend, not just my sister. We were only 2 years apart, close enough in the age to share everything growing up. We had the kind of sister relationship everyone envied. Matching Halloween costumes until high school, shared secrets about crushes, late-night conversations about our dreams. Even as adults living in the same city, we talked almost every day. When I got engaged to David, Sarah was my maid of honor. She cried during her speech about how she was gaining a brother and how perfect David was for me. David and Sarah got along incredibly well, which I loved. He'd join us for sister lunches sometimes, help her move furniture, give her advice about her career. The three of us would have dinner together weekly, and I felt so lucky that my husband and my best friend genuinely enjoyed each other's company. I bragged to friends about how seamlessly David had integrated into my family. Sarah knew everything about me. She knew I struggled with anxiety, that I worried constantly about not being good enough at my job, that I'd gained weight after the wedding and felt self-conscious about it. She knew I sometimes felt inadequate compared to David's successful colleagues, that I overthought social situations, that I had imposter syndrome in my career. I confided these things to her because she was my sister, my safe space, the person who'd loved me my whole life. And David knew everything too. I told him my deepest insecurities as vulnerabilities shared in marriage, trusting that he'd protect them. When I cried about feeling like I wasn't smart enough in professional settings, he'd held me and said I was brilliant. When I worried about my body, he'd told me I was beautiful. I believed him because he was my husband, the person who'd vowed to love and honor me. That Tuesday, I'd called Sarah's cell around 3 p.m. to coordinate our mom's surprise birthday dinner. The call went to voicemail, and I started leaving a message about restaurant options. Then suddenly, I heard Sarah's voice. Not to me, but to someone else in the room. Her phone had somehow called me back without her realizing it, and I was now connected to a live conversation she was having. At first I almost hung up, but then I heard my own name, and I froze. Emma's just so exhausting lately, Sarah was saying. She called me 3 times yesterday crying about her performance review. Like, at some point, you have to just accept that you're mediocre at your job and move on, you know? I felt my chest tighten. That wasn't how Sarah had responded to my calls. She'd been supportive, told me the review was unfair, that my boss didn't appreciate me. Now she was calling me exhausting. Then I heard David's voice, my husband's voice. He was there with her, laughing. Oh God, I know. She does this thing where she needs constant reassurance about everything. It's like being married to a therapy patient sometimes. They were together, mocking me. I checked my phone. It was a Tuesday afternoon, a work day. David had said he had client meetings all day. Sarah had said she was swamped with deadlines. But here they were, together, talking about me like I was a burden they both had to manage. Remember last month when she had that panic attack before the dinner party? Sarah said, and I could hear the eye roll in her voice. That panic attack had been real. Overwhelming anxiety about hosting David's colleagues. Sarah had helped me through it, stayed on the phone with me for an hour. Or so I'd thought. How could I forget? David replied. I had to spend 2 hours convincing her she wasn't going to embarrass me. Meanwhile, she goes to the party and literally just talks about her book club the entire time. Like, read the room. Emma. They both laughed. That easy, comfortable laughter of two people who'd shared this joke many times before. The book club thing is so Emma, Sarah said. She thinks she's intellectual because she reads romance novels and discusses them with her suburban mom friends. Meanwhile, she can barely follow conversations when she's around actually educated people. My hands were shaking. I'd invited Sarah to my book club multiple times. She'd always said it sounded fun, that she was too busy, but maybe next month. Now I knew she'd been judging me for it the whole time. And the weight thing, David continued. My stomach dropped. I cannot hear one more time about how her jeans don't fit. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe stop eating an entire bag of chips while watching The Bachelor every week. Sarah laughed harder. We're blaming it on stress. Everything is stress-related with Emma. Stress eating, stress shopping, stress crying. God forbid she just take responsibility for anything. I wanted to hang up. I needed to hang up. But I couldn't move. I just sat there in my car, phone pressed to my ear, listening to the two people I trusted most dissect every insecurity I'd ever shared with them. You know what's funny? Sarah said, and I could hear her settling into a story. Last week she told me she thinks she's not good enough for you. That your colleagues probably judge you for marrying someone so ordinary. I had to spend 40 minutes convincing her that's not true, that she's just as smart and successful as anyone in your field. What did you tell her? David asked. I told her she was being ridiculous, that she's plenty smart enough, all the supportive sister bullshit. But honestly, she's not wrong. You probably could have done better. The casual cruelty of it took my breath away. My own sister, telling my husband I wasn't good enough for him. My husband, not defending me. Instead, David said, sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be with someone who doesn't need their hand held through every social situation. Someone confident, you know? Someone who doesn't make everything about their feelings and insecurities. Like Melissa from your office, Sarah asked, and there was something in her tone I couldn't quite identify. Melissa is different, David said carefully. She's just confident, comfortable in her own skin. It's refreshing after spending every evening reassuring Emma that she's not a total failure at life. They kept talking for another minute, discussing my faults like I was a problematic project they both had to manage. Then Sarah's phone finally disconnected, ending the accidental recording at 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I sat in my car for an hour, just processing what I'd heard. Then I listened to the voicemail again, and again, each time hoping I'd misheard something, hoping there was context that would make it better. There wasn't. When I confronted David that night, I played him the recording. I watched his face go pale as he heard himself mocking me. He tried to explain it away. Sarah had been venting. He'd been going along with it. They didn't mean any of it. Sometimes people need to blow off steam. He said I was taking a private conversation out of context, that everyone complains about their spouse sometimes. But this wasn't normal venting. This was systematic, detailed mockery of every vulnerable thing I'd ever shared with him. This was my husband bonding with my sister over what a burden I was. I confronted Sarah the next day. She cried immediately, said she'd been having a bad day, that she didn't mean any of it, that she loved me. But when I pressed her about how often these conversations happened, she got defensive. She said I was being too sensitive, that siblings complain about each other sometimes, that I was overreacting to one bad moment. How long? I asked her directly. How long have you and David been getting together to talk about how pathetic I am? She hesitated too long before answering. We have lunch sometimes. He works near my office. We're both in your life, so sometimes we talk about you. That's normal. What's normal about my husband and my sister having secret lunches where they mock my anxiety and my weight and my career? She couldn't answer that. I found out later that David and Sarah had been having weekly lunches for over 2 years. Every Tuesday afternoon, the same time I'd accidentally received that voicemail. They'd tell me they were busy with work, and instead they'd meet up to discuss the various ways I'd embarrassed or disappointed them that week. It wasn't an affair, at least not a romantic one. It was something worse. It was a conspiracy of contempt, a shared hobby of deconstructing my insecurities and failures. David and I separated 3 months after I heard that voicemail. He insisted their lunches were innocent, that I was destroying our marriage over nothing. But I couldn't unhear him laughing about my panic attacks, couldn't forget him suggesting he could do better, couldn't trust someone who'd spent years pretending to support me while privately mocking me. Sarah and I haven't spoken in 8 months. She sends occasional texts saying she misses me, that she's sorry, that families should forgive each other. But she's never acknowledged the depth of what she did. She still frames it as me overreacting to one unfortunate conversation, not as years of calculated betrayal. The hardest part is rewriting every memory. Every time David had comforted me through anxiety, had he been mentally rolling his eyes? Every time Sarah had listened to my problems, had she been collecting material for her next lunch with my husband? Every vulnerable moment I'd shared with them, thinking I was building deeper connections, had actually been giving them ammunition to use against me. I'm 34 years old, and I don't know how to trust anyone anymore. I've started therapy, trying to work through the betrayal, but my therapist says rebuilding trust after this kind of systematic deception takes years. I've joined a new book club, found friends who don't know my history, started creating a life where I'm not constantly wondering if people are secretly laughing at me. But I still have that voicemail saved on my phone. 3 minutes and 47 seconds of truth that I'll never be able to forget. Sometimes I listen to it when I start doubting my decision to cut them out of my life. It reminds me that the people who know you best are sometimes the ones who hurt you worst because they know exactly where to aim. My sister and my husband weren't having an affair, but what they were doing might have been worse. They were having a years-long relationship built on shared contempt for me, bonding over my failures and weaknesses, creating a secret alliance where I was the joke they both understood. Sometimes the betrayal isn't about who your spouse is sleeping with. Sometimes it's about discovering that the two people who should love you most have been treating your pain as entertainment, your vulnerability as a source of bonding, your trust as permission to mock you when you're not in the room. That's the betrayal I can't forgive. And that 3-minute voicemail is the evidence I'll carry forever that the family I trusted never actually existed. Drop a comment in the comments section. Like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories.